Hello and welcome to United Report. This is your home for all the latest Manchester United news, match updates, transfer stories, and in-depth analysis. Stay connected and never miss a moment. Subscribe now to stay ahead with everything happening at Old Trafford. Few players have embodied the highs and lows of Manchester United quite like Paul Pogba. From a teenage prospect who slipped through Sir Alex Ferguson's grasp to a record-breaking return in 2016, Pogba's time at Old Trafford was a rollercoaster of brilliance, controversy, and unfulfilled potential. Whether it was his dazzling performances, injury struggles, or off-field drama, including clashes with managers and supporters, as well as cryptic social media posts, Pogba was always a headline maker. Now, with his career at a crossroads following his turbulent spell at Juventus and an uncertain future, whispers of a sensational United return refuse to fade. Could a reunion benefit both player and club, or would history simply repeat itself? They say third time's the charm, but after Pogba's dismal stint in Italy, few United fans are likely to put stock in such idioms. Nevertheless, talk of him having one more go at Old Trafford has lingered for months, with the Frenchman, whose doping ban ends next month, even teasing a United return on social media. He was initially banned for 4 years, though the suspension was reduced to 18 months on appeal. As per the sentence, Pogba was allowed to return to training last month and has been in Miami trying to regain his fitness. In a series of posts on his Instagram story, Pogba shared a cartoon showing him standing next to Red Devils ace Ahmad, with the pair wearing United kits. He then shared another snap of him looking out over Miami city centre with the caption, "Let's see what's coming." Pogba is a free agent after mutually agreeing to tear up his Juventus contract in November. The 31-year-old racked up just 203 minutes of playing time for the old lady across a 2.5-year spell that was blighted by injury and eventually wrecked by a failed drug test. He had 2 spells at United, initially joining the club from Le Havre as a 16-year-old in 2009 before leaving for Juventus in 2012 after failing to break into the first team. He then returned in 2016 for a then world record £89 million fee and went on to play over 200 times for the club. Pogba's second stint at United ended with a whimper and an apology he made to his teammates in the dressing room after a 0-0 draw with Liverpool in 2021 rather summed things up. The midfielder missed a gilt-edged chance to score the winner late on by blasting a close-range effort into Alisson's palms and felt so bad about it that he took the blame for the result after the final whistle. According to the Metro, Pogba stood up in front of the entire squad and apologised, admitting that he should have buried the chance. Teammates Harry Maguire and Scott McTominay were quick to console him, though some players were reportedly furious that the team had failed to take all 3 points. United went on to finish second in the league behind neighbours Manchester City that season. Pogba managed just 6 goals in all competitions across the campaign, having bagged 16 2 seasons prior. Throughout his career, Pogba has often been accused of ill discipline, both on and off the field, and his unruliness was on full show in 2018, when he appeared to mock Jose Mourinho on social media hours after the coach's United sacking. He posted a photo of himself smirking and wrote, "Caption this," prompting a fierce backlash. A few months earlier, Pogba had been stripped of the vice-captaincy after criticising Mourinho's tactics, sparking a rift between the pair. Despite the tension, Pogba retained his spot in the starting lineup, but couldn't resist a jab at Mourinho after his departure. Reports suggested Mourinho had called Pogba a virus before leaving, but any sympathy for the midfielder vanished following his petulant social media post. United legend Gary Neville responded on Twitter, "Now caption this, you do one as well." Later, Neville hit out at those excusing Pogba's actions, insisting that suggestions he didn't mean to mock Mourinho were garbage. He said dancing on the grave of the manager who has just been sacked is out of order. There is probably a high level of dislike there, but Jose Mourinho lost his job this morning, and Paul Pogba and his people put that post out. Don't fall for this coincidence scheduled tweet nonsense. It's garbage. Absolute garbage. Ruben Amorim has been warned that Kobbie Mainoo is confused by his tactics at Manchester United. Mainoo broke into the United team last season, establishing himself as one of their best central midfielders. But under Amorim's management, Mainoo has been pushed further forward, recently operating as a centre-forward in the defeat to Crystal Palace. While Rasmus Højlund replaced him in that role for the FA Cup win over Leicester, Mainoo was still selected in a more advanced number 10 position. But it was another disappointing evening for the 19-year-old, who failed to have a shot or create a chance and had just 4 touches inside the Foxes' box. That latest underwhelming showing has seen former Chelsea star Tony Cascarino raise concerns about Amorim's management of the youngster. He believes that the United boss is giving his young charge too much to think about. When Mainoo first came into the Man United team, I thought he really did it at a breeze, he told TalkSport. It was quite comfortable for him. He felt confident on the ball. He knew what he was wanting to try and achieve. Gets him in the England squad. Does really well in the Euros. Plays well. Doesn't look out of place. Really high standard. I'm watching Kobbie Mainoo last night, and it's not on him. I'm putting this on the manager and the coaching team around him. I think he looks a confused footballer now. Because Kobbie is going backward too often. I think he feels he's afraid to lose the ball. And that's what can happen when you get into a really technical setup, which is what Amorim is trying to achieve. I'm watching Kobbie Mainoo, and I think he doesn't really know what he's meant to do now. I feel sorry for him because he's 19, and he's learning on the job. When he first broke in, everything about his game was spot on. He's gone from a central midfielder, to an attacking midfielder, to a centre-forward. He's the future of Manchester United. He's in a position that isn't natural for him. Questions about Amorim's use of Mainoo were raised after the defeat to Palace last week, but the United boss insisted that he had faith that the England star could be a success in his more advanced role. Today, we choose to play with Kobbie, Mainoo, to use the characteristics of Kobbie. It's not nothing against Rasmus or Josh. And sometimes the team scores goals by creating situations to use the right characteristics, Amorim said after last week's loss. It doesn't mean if you play with 2 strikers, you are going to score more goals. So I think it's a problem for the team, and we have spoken about that all the time. We need to improve our performance in every aspect of the game, especially scoring goals. First things first, the Premier League loan system remains a blot on the competition's integrity. Clubs, supposedly rival clubs, should not be allowed to lend each other players. Teams are fielding players who have 2 paymasters from the same league. How can that be right? Teams are fielding players who cannot play in every match, who cannot play against certain opponents. How can that be right? So, I am one of the very, very few who think Aston Villa should not have been allowed to borrow Marcus Rashford. Buy him? Yes. Borrow him? No. But it is what it is. It is not going to change, and Rashford will, quite probably, make his Aston Villa debut against Spurs in the FA Cup. And after that, he will have little more than 3 months to take what really could be a final chance to get his career back on the path to greatness. And by greatness, I just mean great player. Not greatness in a Messi sense, not greatness in a Ronaldo sense, just a great player, because that is what he should be. What has gone wrong? Well, some people would point to the 5-year, £325,000 a week contract he signed in the summer of 2023, which coincided with a prolonged dip in his effectiveness. But who, since then, has been anything like effective in a Manchester United squad that has become unfit for purpose? Other people make sweeping assumptions based on the odd story of Rashford's social activities. If he has time off, is he not allowed to go and watch a basketball match in New York? And so what if you don't like his jacket? Perhaps there has been the odd time when he has not been ultra-professional, but that would be true of many Premier League players. They are only human. But of course, the criticism of his actual performances on the pitch brings valid negativity, even allowing for him being in a mediocre team. Rashford's impact over the past season and a half has been so limited that it is easy to forget what a fantastic footballer he is, and what a fine footballer he has been for both club and country. Rashford, 27, is well and truly out of the international picture right now, but this is someone who has won 60 caps and scored 17 England goals. That ratio might not sound overly impressive, but of those 60 caps, only 24 have been starts. They say, but he does not work hard enough. But there is still room in elite football for game changers who are not human dynamos. Whether that will be the case at Villa under Unai Emery remains to be seen. Whether or not the goodwill generated by the wonderful work Rashford did away from the pitch is still there, in significant amounts, is not clear. Like it or not, the way of the world is that people tend not to look far behind a player's personal wealth. But Rashford was a player whose journey and talent was rightly celebrated, even beyond the boundaries of club loyalty. And it would be nice to see him playing with a smile on his face again. Villa should not be allowed to borrow him, but let's hope they do him good. Roy Keane has called out Ruben Amorim's decision to play new signing Patrick Dorgu at right wing-back. The young Dane, recently signed from Lecce in an initial £25.2 million deal plus £4.2 million in add-ons, was being dubbed as the solution to United's problems at left wing-back. That's why eyebrows were raised when United's starting lineup came to light, though Amorim has since defended his decision by claiming Dorgu is also comfortable on the right. Keane wasn't happy though, and exploded during ITV's coverage of the clash, stating, "There is a lack of belief, lack of confidence. They've brought new players in. You're thinking he's Dorgu going to play in his position, and he's playing right wing-back. You think, is that unfair on players? And you look at the urgency for the goal Leicester opener, it's given away cheaply, people not staying with their runners. I just look at it from United's point of view and think, my goodness, is this what it's come to?" To make matters worse, Dorgu was then hooked at half-time just minutes after the completion of Keane's rant. But the changes and introductions of Alejandro Garnacho and Joshua Zirkzee, who struck the leveller, helped flip the game on its head as Harry Maguire netted a controversial late winner. Speaking after the game, Amorim justified his shock usage of Dorgu. The Portuguese boss said, "He played a lot of times for Lecce on the right and the left. That's one of the characteristics we pay a lot of attention to. He was a little bit anxious with the first touch of the ball. This is a different league for him, different speed of the game, but he did well. He has pace, he has strength, and he is going to improve a lot. We as a team need to play better to help the new guy perform at the right level." If you have seen the history of Dorgu for his last team, he played a lot of games on the right, and we have to have wingers who can play both sides like Diogo Dalot.